Account with a new read from a beautiful book, William, or Bhaskaranand with his spiritual name, which means sunshine, the rays of the sun. He will read some parts from Hirakan Baba. The floor is for you, William.
This it's a beautiful book, and it's written by Vijay Gupta, who was from early from 14, 15 year of age. He was the personal assistant of Babaji, so he was every day with him for years. And recently, he wrote a beautiful book about his experiences, and it is there's many chapters, and each chapter is just it's more like storytelling, you can say. So I will start with chapter one, and the chapter one is the title is Forever God. Since time immemorial, Uttarakhand, land of the gods, or Dev Bhumi, tucked away in the verdant lap of the mighty Himalayas. Uttarakhand has been home to sages seeking moksha and liberation from the cycle of birth and death. This sacred soil, where many great gurus have reincarnated, is also known as Kurmanchal. This is an area in India not far from Nepal. Vijay Gupta says, I narrate here the story of the great guru about whom tales have been handed down through the ages, retold as folklore and documented even before his reincarnations as Guru Sri 1008 Hirikandi Baba. Interestingly, several books had already been written about Babaji even before his reincarnation as Guru Sri 1008 Hirakanawala Baba. These include Mere Pyare Bhagwan Hiryakandi by Hemchand Joshi, Sri Bhagavan Hirakanawala Baba by retired judge late Giridhari Lal Mishra, and the works of his younger brother, late Acharya Vishnudat Mishra, or Shastriji. The Atman, soul, and essence of Baba Hirakan still resides in his followers, and he remains loved and revered even today. Following his reincarnation, Babaji's very first interaction with the local folk is very interesting. It took place in a village called Hirakan in district Nainital, Uttarakhand, in the foothills of Kurmanchal Kailash, where a stream of the river Gautama Ganga flows. On its banks there is a natural cave, and it is here that Babaji first appeared in 1970, looking like an 18-year-old boy. Nothing is known about his parents. When questioned by the locals, Sri Hirakan Babaji told them that he was the same Mahavatar Babaji, the avatar of Lord Shiva, popularized among the people through the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Sri Paramahansa Yogananda. He was the epitome of endless knowledge and divine powers during his lifetime, 1970 to 1984. In his previous incarnation, the old Hirakan Babaji is known to have appeared before different devotees at the same time, to some as an old sage and to others as a young mystic. There are even anecdotes that whenever two followers talked to him together, both saw him differently. This often led to arguments as each saw him in a different form and age. Babaji was omnipresent. Although there is no information regarding his formal education in his last incarnation, we know he spoke several languages besides Hindi and Sanskrit. Devotees would speak to him in Nepali, Gujarati, Urdu, English, and other languages, and he would respond in the same tongue. Another distinctive quality that set him apart from ordinary people was the fragrance of chandan that emanated from his body. I can personally testify to this. He was reticent and spent most of his time in meditation. The signs of his various incarnations are documented in the Shastras, ancient scriptures, and in 20th century records. Sri Mahendra Maharaj, one of his foremost devotees, often talked about this. He had visitations from the old Hirakan Baba and the goddess Jagadamba in his childhood. Later on, the old Babaji appeared to him in a vision to greet him on his birthday and guided him through a session of intense meditation that lasted 6 days and 6 nights. Thereafter, the old Babaji disappeared. Very eager to discover the locations of Babaji's future incarnation and wanting to find out everything that he could about Babaji, Mahendra Baba traveled extensively seeking the reincarnated Babaji. He journeyed across India, Nepal, Tibet, China, and later on mainly to the north and northwestern parts of India. After a long wait of 20 years, he was rewarded at last. Goddess Amba directed him in a dream to go to Kurmanchal, where he would finally come face to face with Babaji. Now that he was sure of Babaji's reincarnation, Mahendra Maharaj spread the word among the people, informing them that the great Guru would soon appear for the betterment of the world. He worked day and night to restore Babaji's old temples and constructed some new ones, including those in Vrindavan and Katkaria near Haldwani. After Hirdekan Babaji appeared on the world stage in 1970, these two shrines became famous as Katkaria Dham, Vishwa Shanti Tapovan, and Samba Sadashiva Kunj, respectively. In Autobiography of a Yogi, Sri Paramahansa Yogananda speaks of Mahavatar Babaji as the deathless avatar. Mahendra Maharaj also told his disciples that Hirakan Babaji was the Lord himself, an incarnation of Lord Shiva, and had not entered this world from a woman's womb. Sri Babaji assumed a series of such incarnations to guide followers about knowledge and Dharma. There are many references to Hirakan Babaji previous incarnations in various books written between 1860 and 1922. Around 1860, he appeared out of a divine flame, and in 1922, he vanished as a ball of light in front of some people while walking on the confluence of the Kali Gori Ganga and the Nepal border. There are plenty of anecdotes that describe his divine powers, such as healing people, giving life to the dead, feeding a lot of people with very little food that never seemed to finish, changing forms, using water instead of ghee in yajnas, and giving darshan simultaneously to numerous people at different locations, etc. Babaji had numerous visitors, and when he appeared in his next incarnation in 1970, there were still some followers who were familiar enough with his earlier avatar to make the connection between the two and recognize that he had returned. Chapter 2, Karma Yoga and the Power of Mantras. Babaji reincarnated as Hirakan Baba mainly to malevolent hearts, to change malevolent hearts, and once said, meditation keeps your heart clean. How can God reside in an evil heart? A person who thinks of God incessantly always succeeds very easy in life. God is always there in his hour of need. He stressed on the recitation of Om Namah Shivaya among which other sacred chants, along with other sacred chants. He stated that on Doomsday, only these mantras would act as instrument of survival, and only those truly devoted to God would survive. God is a word, revered, is omnipotent. He, okay. Although Babaji led Sanatan, eternal Hindu lifestyle, and was revered accordingly, he was not a follower of any particular religion. Whenever he was asked which religion one should follow, his simple answer was, follow whatever suits your heart, as every religion leads us to God. Referred by people of all religious denominations, from all walks of life, and even by atheists, Babaji said that the world was one family. He encouraged followers to embrace truth, love, and simplicity. These were the highest forms of any yoga. He said, because they detached one from maleficent elements, including jealousy, anger, hatred, selflessness, and violence. Babaji also emphasized karma yoga. That means selfless actions dedicated to God, deeming it as the easiest path to divinity. He introduced Karma Yoga as a mandatory part of the daily routine in the ashram at Hirakan. He stressed the importance of chanting mantras and following Karma Yoga. Being laborious in your actions is an innate quality of this path, and laziness is dead. We should not run away from our duties. We should follow them. In today's world, inhumanity and idleness have increased among men. This is why it's very important not to surrender to such evils. We must believe in action. Babaji also talked about mutual respect to his devotees, many of them from Europe and the United States. Babaji also talked about mutual respect to his devotees through books, interviews, and even in their dreams. He never craved fame. In the first 2 years of his incarnation, Hirakan Baba spoke very little. But in the ensuing 12 years, he conversed very easily. He gave discourses, but stressed more on chanting mantras during religious congregations. The sound of Om Namah Shivaya always reverberated at our gatherings. Is still incessantly recited at our ashram today, because it leads to the tryst between the Atman and God. A follower once asked him why he did not deliver sermons very often. He smiled and replied, I am I am enabling you in a way that will ensure that whenever I address you, you become totally absorbed until the indiscriminate discourses, unlike the indiscriminate discourses given by various sages who fail to, who fail to captivate their audience. Babaji said that at the end of Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, mankind would be in extreme danger and there would be a marked lack of spirituality in the world. He prophesied that it was only then that people would chant the eternal truth in the name of God and understand the meaning of Brahman. A new world would evolve through them. Shall I go on? Chapter 3. The first visitation. Writing about Babaji and his divine powers is an Herculean task. Because he evokes feelings that cannot be articulated through mere words. I restrained myself from writing about his experiences in the past, because Babaji is Lord Shiva himself. To write about something that is so esoteric in nature, a journey that is so spiritual in thought and deed, cannot be written without his celestial guidance. After Hirkam Babaji took Samadhi in 1984, I would often cry for hours on end as I did not have his deific company anymore. But then I would rise again, feeling blessed because I had had the honor of accompanying him everywhere for about 14 years after he appeared in 1970 to play out his divine mission. Nevertheless, in the years following 1984, in fact, for years afterwards, I couldn't write a word, even after receiving tons of constant requests from Hirkam Babaji's followers, both in India and abroad. Such was the irony. I would read books by other writers on him and feel the urge to write. So, after 36 long years, I have decided to pen a book under his divine guidance and place my experiences before my readers to guide them and take them on the spiritual journey I once embarked upon as a young teenager. Members of my families were devotees of Mahendra Maharaj, prime among them being my elder brother, Shiv Charan Lal. I was lucky enough to enjoy several blissful interactions with Swamiji. However, before I write about this divine reincarnation of Lord Shiva himself, it's my duty to tell you about Mahendra Maharaji, because it was thanks to his incessant meditation that Babaji reincarnated as Bhagwan Hirkan, a paragon of peace and dedication. Mahendra Baba considered himself as insignificant devotee of the great Atman. Mahendra Maharaji's followers regarded him as an incarnation of Goddess Amba. People felt blessed in his company and their wishes were granted. Swamiji constructed a temple dedicated to Babaji in Vrindavan, which drew large multitudes. And to our surprise, he made Vishnudat Mishra Shastriji write several books on Babaji's future incarnation even before he reincarnated. Swamiji also constructed a room next to Babaji's idol in Vrindavan and made fully offerings inside it. Made daily offerings inside it. He told us that Babaji would stay there when he arrived. Swamiji undertook rigorous upanya penance to pray for Babaji's reincarnation, especially meditating at Shirla Khet near Almora in Uttarakhand. His followers from Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Bihar, and Madhya Pradesh would often come to Vrindavan to visit him, and I too was blessed with his presence quite often. I was around 13 or 14 years old at that time and had grown up in a religious environment. One bhajan, devotional song, stands out distinctively from my childhood. Mujhe apna barna loge to kya hoga. Sharan dekar meri bigdi bana dog to kya hoga. What will happen if you make me yours? What will happen if you restore what I have spoiled? I would often hum this song. Babaji's first idol was established in Vrindavan. My family assembled for the inauguration of the second one in Katkaria Ashram, located 7 kilometers from Haldwani in Uttarakhand. The idol was installed with all due rituals in the presence of a number of devotees and sadhus who had gathered there along with Mahendra Maharaji. It was a moment of perfect happiness in my life. Situated beside a channel, Katkaria Ashram was a beautiful place surrounded by mountains. The ashram had a school adjacent to it. The followers who had congregated for the inauguration were staying nearby. On the day the idol was installed, the whole ashram resounded with chants of Om Namah Shivaya and bhajans like O Hirakanawala Humko Na Bul Jana Jivan Nisha Mai Tum Chant Banke Ana. Oh, Hirakan Baba, don't ever forget us. Come as the moon into the darkness of our life. That's the translation. I watched the whole scene with wide-eyed curiosity. At around 9 p.m. that evening, a devotee came shouting, Look, the Kurta Topi Baba is here. And stamps broke out. And the stampede broke out. Someone said, I can see him on the face of the moon. Mahendra Maharaji smiled, amused by the excitement and curiosity of his followers. Just then a devotee said, Look at that Jyoti. Babaji is inside it. All of us stood in a row and watched and captured as a small flame floated before us, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes on the mountains, sometimes on a bell. This went on for about an hour. It was our first encounters with Babaji Divine Leela, and it was a magical experience for everyone present. A sense of benediction pervaded the air. Swamiji continued to smile quietly as he watched the divine play. As He watched the divine play unfold. Soon after, the priest offered food to the idol. A few minutes later, he was astonished to find of it that a part of it had been eaten. Prabhu, the deity, has had his share of the prasad, Mahendra Maharaji remarked. Kirtans were sung throughout that night. In the morning, the priest came and informed everyone that Babaji had slept in the room that Swamiji had built next to the idol, as there were tiny footprints on his bed. When devotees clamored for, for an answer, Mahendra Maharaji smiled and replied, "It's all Prabhu's Leela." Several devotees trooped into the room to take photographs of those footprints, which were later printed in a book. The devotional gathering went on for 3 days, and even after returning home to Barapur, my native place in Rajasthan, I couldn't forget these magical moments. I still remember the divine flame and feel eternally blessed by those visions that took place before his reincarnation. Okay, I think this is enough for tonight.
I just asked the public if we should read another chapter,
Okay,
but I can take over if you want.
yeah, if you like.
You sent me the book today, so it's not a problem.
It's chapter 4 about the departure of Mahendra Maharaj.
Okay, then we read this last chapter and then we end. The wheel of time continued apace until one day Mahendra Maharaji called his followers to Vrindavan. The body is mortal, he told his devotees, and life can leave anyone anytime. Everyone has to go one day. He then disclosed the all-important question that was worrying him. How are you all going to recognize Babaji when he comes to Earth in his next avatar? It is my strong belief that he will definitely be reincarnated. The followers were perplexed, and Acharya Vishnudut Shastri, keen to find a solution, asked Swamiji to guide them. Dear brother Vishnu, Swamiji replied with a smile, I'm going to reveal a mantra to you, which is known to no one but Harikan Babaji and me. Anyone who comes to you and claims that he is Babaji must chant this mantra without being asked for it. If you hear this mantra from someone without asking for it, you will know that he is the reincarnation of Haidakan Baba, and later gave the mantra to Shastriji. Then he told us what Lord Krishna had told Arjuna in the Mahabharata. The wheel of time never stops. One should spare time and comply with one's duty. This is Manav Dharma, the guiding principle for men. In June 1969, Mahendra Maharaj left his body. He was cremated on the banks of the Jamuna at Vrindavan. The great saint had left us with the words, Baba Jaror Aying, Babaji will definitely come. And we, his devotees, held on to that belief and kept waiting for the prophecy to be fulfilled. Bole Baba Ki Jai.
Jai.
Thank you for your attention. Maybe you have any questions. Ilona just said she had a strong vision of meeting Babaji in person.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Babaji is coming again, indeed, and many will be blessed with seeing him. So join us on the next meeting. We will continue to read from Gorakhnath, and in 2 weeks we will continue with chapter 5 when Babaji arrives in his former incarnation. Thank you for being with us. Radio Herakan is sending its blessings and stopping for today.
Om Namah Shivaya.